Hey, what's up guys? 01 here, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about Firefly, the TV show. Created by Josh Whedon. It came out back in the early 2000s. The setting of the show takes place like in this sci-fi western environment. And it's 2157, and so many of the human race has actually colonized different planets and different moons through terraforming and through just regular colonization. Firefly is basically a merger of Andromeda Ascended and Cowboy Bebop and put together, and that's basically Firefly. The entire story just takes place on the fringes of civilization, and it's a crew of 9 people who are trying to survive the fringes of outer space. And we start off first with the captain, which is Mal. We also have his second in command, Zoe, his pilot, Wash, his, you could say mercenary, his personal mercenary, which is Gene, that's his name. His personal mercenary is named Gene. We also have a doctor named Simon, his sister River, and we also have the ambassador, Inara. And also the engineer, which her name right now escapes me. Oh, Kaylee. That's the engineer's name. And the last one would be Shepherd. And Shepherd's another word for pastor, but he's basically the moral or the spiritual leader to the group. And one thing that Josh Wheaton did that I really like about the show was that also he did a real good job, and not just him, but the crew that he worked with, the writers and the actors did a real good job in building up tension, building up what's going to happen next, because you never know who was going to die or not. And there are certain episodes that I really loved, I really liked. I was just kind of like on my edge of my seat where I was like, okay, what's going to happen next? One of the episodes was basically the captain. It starts off with the ending, and it works itself backwards. In other words, you're trying to figure out how did the captain end up there, or how did he end up being wounded and basically barely trying to survive, or barely living. So that was pretty interesting, and I really liked the way it worked out and the way it just built up. And it was pretty cool. Another one was basically dealing with a bounty hunter who comes into the ship, and he's coming for a prize. And it just the way everybody is basically just locked off, and the only ones who are free or able to move around is River and Simon, and they have a pretty interesting interaction with the bounty hunter. I love the dialogue in that episode. It was actually the final episode, so I don't want to speak too much about it, so you guys can actually go see it. I love the characters Simon and River. I think they had an awesome dynamic. They had a really great interaction with one another, because River, who has gone through something in the past, and the audience really doesn't know what happened to her, but she little by little you start seeing that she's unique, and not just the way she acts, but also the way she thinks. And as the show progressed, you start seeing glimpses of who she can be or what she can be. Simon also, I loved the way he was portrayed. He was a doctor, a surgeon, top 3% of his class, and he comes from a background that's way different from the rest of the crew. Because the rest of the crew are, you can say, they're outlaws, they're survivors, they're soldiers, they're mercenaries. And he is basically the one who comes from the high class, and he's trying to adjust his life because of the situation that he and his sister have been placed into. So that was an awesome. I would love to know more about them. Mal is basically the captain who has a history with Zoe, in the sense that they're partners of an old war, and they survived the war, but the outcome of the war wasn't that pretty. It was pretty bad. So they have this kind of kinship kind of like I'm the captain, you're the soldier, and what's the plan? Let's go do it. The pilot, which is Wash, he is married to Zoe, and there's that friction between his marriage to Zoe and Zoe's allegiance to the captain, and that dynamic is played pretty well. The same with the mercenary and the shepherd. Shepherd and the mercenary, even though they are have different philosophy, different point of views, and a lot of things, shepherd somehow finds a way to connect with each and every person, especially with the mercenary too. He finds to I guess communicate through working out, communicate through cooking together. It's pretty, I know this is like an ex-mercenary, so that was pretty interesting. I didn't like of the show Firefly was it felt so much of an echo of Andromeda Ascended. In a sense, you had the same type of characters in the same type of environment, or not environment, situation. Like, for example, Wash, the pilot. He dresses a lot like Seamus Harper from Andromeda Ascended. He even looks a lot like him. I thought they were actually both the same actor who portrays these two different characters, but no, it's actually two different characters that look very much alike, and they have kind of like the same role. Very comedic, Hawaiian shirts. It's very kind of like a cookie cutter type of character. Similarity between the mercenary and the Nietzschean guy who comes out in Andromeda, who a Gale, which is he's very much as if a higher bidder comes with money and offers him that money, he will turn on the team. The same thing with the Nietzschean guy, the big giant built black guy that you see on Andromeda. If some other opportunity comes that's better, he would like turn his back on the team. That type of mentality. It dealt with the spiritual leader. The spiritual leader, which you saw in Andromeda Ascended, is Rev, which is he is I guess a Magog, type of an alien race that goes around killing people right and left, and the way they reproduce is laying their eggs into whatever they kill or they murder. So basically that's and the same thing with Shepherd. Shepherd is he has a mystery to him in the sense that he knows how to defend himself. He knows how to use weapons. So he's kind of like a walking weapon, but with the Christianese or with the Bible. And you see those references. So you see all these similarities, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if Josh Whedon was taking notes on Andromeda. He was like, you know what, I think I could do better than that. I don't know, but that's one of the things that I didn't like about Firefly. It felt too similar to Andromeda Ascended, and certain episodes felt like Cowboy Bebop. Another thing that I didn't like was the CGI. I think one of the good examples, if you ever watch the TV show Firefly, and you look at the intro towards the end where the fireflies are flying over cattle, it looks like it pops out. It doesn't fit with the rest of the environment. The same thing with the rest of the show. There's certain CGI scenes that look very real, very good, but the majority of them looked very fake, extremely fake, to the point where it was like, okay, that looks so dull. That looks like very popped out. It looks very fake from the rest of the environment. What was it? Descendants of the United States and also China or Far East nations merged together and repopulated the entire galaxy or solar system. It had a mixture of, sometimes the characters would just start going to Mandarin and you did not know what they were saying. Well, if you knew Mandarin, you know what they were saying. But if you didn't know Mandarin, you did not know at all what they were saying. It just like left you kind of hanging, like, what the heck? What did you just say? And it also had certain dialect where it felt like the Wild Wild West dialect, kind of like that type of language. Well, you merge that with Mandarin, and you're kind of a little bit lost. But the way that the actors portrayed their characters and the way they said the words, you kind of understood what they were going through. You kind of understood what the words that they were saying meant, which is basically cursing. you couldn't drop an F-bomb, so they changed it up to Mandarin cursing. So yeah, that's what they were going for. Another thing that I felt like it was lacking was Inara, the ship's companion. I felt like she would have been awesome to show like a redeeming quality in her that she shows, or the writers and the creator of the show will show to the audience that, you know, that lifestyle of selling your body for money is not a healthy lifestyle, but it's also a very sad and depressing lifestyle. Certain times the clients of Inara had something to do with the mission that the rest of the Firefly crew were on, but other times it had nothing to do with the mission. And you had, over the course of, what was it, 12 or 14 episodes, the love scenes would just, you know, increase the duration of them. And I would be thinking to myself, like, well, what does this have to do with the show? What does this have to do with anything? I mean, all you're doing is just promoting, you know, basically treat women like meat, basically, you know, like, hey, if she's attractive, then, you know, go for it and just gawk at her. And I felt like it really diminished the character of Inara. I would have loved for her to, towards the end of that season, that she would, you know, make a choice and say, you know what, this lifestyle is not really cutting it. I feel empty and I feel depressed and sad and I feel dirty too. So kind of like, you know, she makes a change. I think the other thing that I would have loved to see is more of a balance between people who have faith in Jesus Christ and people who don't have faith in Jesus Christ. It seems like a lot of people who I noticed in the show that are not Christians, like for example, the shepherd, he's a Christian, supposedly, but you see certain traits in him that it shows something different. You know, he maybe not a Christian, or he may be a Christian, but he knows how to handle himself. But other Christians that are shown in, or other people that believe in God who are shown in the show, are looked like as idiots. A town that was very religious, very, you know, small, and they want to kill somebody just because they're different, and the way they say it is because it's God's will. And I think to myself, like, okay, where is your scripture? Where's your word? Or where's the word of God to back that up? You know, it's just, oh, it's God's will because we say it's God's will and bam, we're going to kill you. That's kind of like a low blow, low punch to the audience. Kind of like, come on, man. Do I recommend the TV show to other people? No, not really. I think you would do better off with, you know, Star Trek Next Generation, Babylon 5. There's also Earth Final Conflict. There's also the X-Files. X-Files is very well done in the sense that they do a real good job in building up the momentum, or building up the suspense. They did a real good job in the X-Files. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for leaving your comments. Please leave comments, but let them be creative comments. Please don't be dropping F-bombs right and left and, you know, SH asterisk T right and left. Come on, give me something to work with. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I appreciate everything. God bless you guys, and peace to the Middle East, because they definitely need it over there real bad. Later, guys. Bye.